we can write another story, and I chose to do so. And I can say I've been successful, and others that I have trained and coached been successful. But it comes with a price. And the price is you have to look at yourself without judgment. Love yourself enough to say, yes, I'm an avoider. Yes, I've paid a lot of like late payments and God knows how many, whatever. But guess what? I did the best I could with the wisdom I had at the time. Didn't know I was an avoider. And once I learned that, I was like, okay, let's do something different. Charm.
Hello and welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, your host on this incredible journey of career transformation. Get ready for inspiring stories, valuable insights, and a roadmap to shift your mindset towards a more fulfilling professional life. In each episode, we explore the remarkable journeys of individuals who made a career change, offering motivation, strategies, and the confidence to pursue your dreams. Whether you're feeling stuck, contemplating a change, or just seeking a dose of inspiration, this podcast is your weekly companion. Tune in every Thursday as we uncover the secrets to shifting your day job. Hello and welcome to another inspiring episode. Before I introduce today's guest, I've got something special to share with you. If you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed in the job search, I know how frustrating it can be to endlessly scroll through job boards only to feel like you're getting nowhere. That's why I created a free mini course to help you shift from confusion to clarity and avoid the one big mistake that may be holding you back. In this training, I'll guide you step by step through the exact strategy you need to make your career transition with confidence. No more second guessing your qualifications or feeling stuck in a cycle of random job searching. You'll learn how to focus on your strengths, align your passions with your next opportunity, and create a job search plan that actually works. By the end of this course, you'll have a clear, actionable roadmap to start landing the career you've always dreamed of without the overwhelm. If you're ready to take action and step into your future, DM me on Instagram at Shift Your Day Job with the word mini course, and I will send you the link to get you started on your journey towards a more fulfilling, aligned career. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Charmin Moore, or as she's affectionately known, Charm. With 36 years of experience as a registered nurse, Charm made a bold decision in 2010 to follow her passion for coaching while still working in the healthcare field. This dual path led her to create the Abundance Quest course and ultimately transition into a successful coach and financial abundance mentor. Charm opens up about her journey of overcoming financial avoidance and transforming her relationship with money. She shares powerful insights into self-awareness, incremental action steps, and the importance of a strong support system on the path to abundance. Charm's advice on examining your relationship with money, avoiding judgment, and taking responsibility for your financial habits is truly eye-opening. If you're ready to learn how to create abundance in your own life and career, this episode is a must listen. So let's dive in by welcoming Charm Moore to the podcast. Hi, Charm. Welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. How are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you. Glad to be here. It's 5:15 on a Friday, and here we are, and I'm happy.
Yes, thank you for taking the time, spending a little extra time in your office today to chat with me. I'm excited to share your story, what you're doing, and how you got here with my audience. So if you don't mind introducing yourself and talking about your career path and what has gotten you to your purpose.
Yes, like I said, my name is Charmin, and my friends call me Charm, so please do. And I am a registered nurse by trade. Been a registered nurse 36 years. That's scary. And I also have my coaching platform that I've been doing part-time for years, just years and years. And the reason why is because my soul calls me to help people in that realm. And I love my day job and I love to coach people. And it's like, why do I have to choose? why can't I be both? And so in 2010, I made the leap to do both. And I've been doing both ever since. And I love it. I trained people to be coaches back then. And that's what I was doing. I was doing 5-day intensives, and people would fly over from around the world and I would train them to be coaches. But I had a shift probably 2015 where I started getting downloads and waking up in the middle of the night and writing and writing and writing. And what I was writing was around the fact that I was writing more around my own journey. I woke up one day and realized that I had become abundant. I was no longer living paycheck to paycheck and stressing out about money. And I was like, how did that happen? And there were several things that happened earlier on in my journey as a registered nurse, first just working on the floor. And I got tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I got tired of the stress. And everybody's nurses make good money. Yes, they do. So why am I struggling? And I didn't know, but I asked the question, why is this? Louise Hay says that money is the easiest thing in the world to manifest. Why is that when I don't understand that? I didn't understand. So I started to seek after that knowledge. Between Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Florence Scovel Shinn, I started to understand that there was more to money, abundance, than working and chasing paper. I started understanding that more. And as I started to really embrace that new school of thought, I decided I'm going to go all in because I didn't feel right about the fact that I was just struggling, like I said, living paycheck to paycheck. And I felt like I was doing all the right things that I was taught. We're taught go to school, get a good degree, go out there, work, and voila, it will all just fall in your lap. And it wasn't falling in my right. So at that point, I started, like I said, taking on that new school of thought and understood one thing, that I really was avoiding money. I had a money wound from a child where I was around a family where money was a source of stress and anxiety, and quite frankly, sometimes just violent arguments and screaming. And as a result of that, even though I said that I wanted money, I was fearful and I avoided it because what it meant for me was stress and strife, but it's also conscious. So you don't know that if you're wanting something but avoiding it. Now, in this moment, it's going to sound not like rocket science. If you want something but you're avoiding it, you're not going to get it, or you're not going to keep it. And that was happening over and over again because I was avoiding paying my bills. I was avoiding looking in the bank account. I was avoiding. You name it. When it came to money, I avoided conversations. If I loaned somebody money, I could not have the conversation around, can you pay me back? I could never do that. The avoidance was everywhere. That was life-changing for me. Life-changing for me to hear and understand that and then embrace it. Once I did that, I made the commitment to myself to heal around, to do whatever I needed to do, go wherever I needed to go, and heal around that. It took me about 5 years. It took me about 5 years to develop a healthy, functional relationship with money. I did all kinds of things. Of course, there was a lot of reading, meditating, affirmations, but the biggest thing that I did was take the leap to open the bank account. Take the leap to have the conversations. When I started making those incremental steps, what I didn't realize I was doing was I was raising my frequency around money, but I was also developing functional relationship with it. I started doing the jars, living off of 55% of my income in the main account, moving it around. And when you're doing that, you're actually paying attention to it. And what you pay attention to expands. So here I am, without knowing it, I was doing all the right things now to start expanding and growing my wealth. And as a result of that, I started developing and having experiences. Like people, I would meet people and they would say, "Hey, let me teach you about crypto. Hey, let me teach you about stocks. Hey, I've got this great job that I think you would be great for. 6 figures. Let me fly you to Seattle. Hey, your house and the mortgage debacle and everything happened. And guess what? We're sending you back 10 grand. Hey, all of these miracles started to ensue. When I read other people's stories, they're so much the same. They're the same. And so I started writing this down. And as I wrote it down, it became the Abundance Quest. And then as I kept going, it became the Abundance Quest course. And now that's what it is. It's a course. But that's where I went from working my day job to being a life coach trainer to then developing the Abundance Quest course. It came from me desiring the opportunity to be all that I can be, whatever my abundance looks like, because it looks different for everybody, right? But I wanted mine, whatever that looked like. I just wanted to be the best version of me. And I didn't see paycheck to paycheck as the best version of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you say that before you even pursued that desire or took those actions that you knew what you wanted abundance to look like for you?
Yes and no. Like, I did a vision board, right? I did a vision board and I put a BMW on the vision board. I put a Southern gentleman on the vision board. I put my life coach business on the vision board. I put a home on the vision board where I could house my parents. I put spirituality on the vision board. So yes, the answer is yes. But did I believe I could have it? That's a different story. Was I there? No. You put the vision board there, and then I learned that you got to do the work, do the internal work to be a vibrational match to it. Now, everything on that vision board, I actually attained. So I took the board down because I have everything on that board, everything. But when you ask me that question, the answer would be no. I wasn't there then. But that vision board was 2008, right?
Yeah.
And some things came pretty quickly, and some things came later. But the more you attract, the more you believe, for sure. Clear that something is really happening. This is real. This is not woo. It's real. Yeah.
Yeah. You talked about when you started managing your money and taking the intentional actions of paying attention to it. That's when you started seeing those miracles happen in your life. And it comes down to action, right? Like we're not going to start believing it until we start doing something about it.
Correct.
And once we start doing one thing, if we keep taking one step and then another, we're building momentum. And then it gets faster and bigger. It grows more. Like you said, you got all of these opportunities coming to your door. And it really is the key to change, right? The work is taking the action steps little by little, not one chunk at a time. Like not one, we're not eating the whole elephant, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so, here I am today in this space, and I'm so grateful. And just like you were saying earlier, you wanted to make the transition from being a teacher, which might I just say to you, thank God for. I don't care how long you did it. Thank God for you because I have a beautiful 9-year-old granddaughter and I love those teachers. Oh my God, she's so amazing. So thank you so much for the service. But I wanted so much to grow and be and help other women. You can. We weren't taught. We didn't come to this planet money wounds, but we developed them. And there's many of us that did not have the best relationship around money, but we don't even think about it. And all I'm saying in this moment is give that some thought. If you're not where you want to be as far as money and what you want, perhaps look back and think about your relationship with money. It might not have been your parents. The other day I was talking to a client and it was his grandparents
Mm.
because his grandfather was the one that was the go-to, but his grandfather was very frugal, but he was good to him. His grandfather was good to him, but what he learned was the frugality. So I have a quiz, and when you take the quiz, it'll tell you what your money archetype is. And his grandfather he is the money monk.
Mm.
And he said that was interesting for him to be the money monk. And I said, really not because the money monk feels like money is bad or evil. They don't want to spend it. So even though his grandfather was probably the hoarder and hoarded money, you'll develop your own
Mm.
from that experience, right? So it was interesting to work with him around that. But the bottom line is if our women out there are not experiencing abundance, I invite you to look at your life and what your relationship to money was like. That will be your first step, just to reflect.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you're talking about your experience, recognizing that you avoided and you gave a lot of different examples of how you avoided money. Like, I see myself in that. I'm sure lots of people can relate. And it also brings to mind, okay, if that's not what's resonating with me, am I doing when it comes to money? Definitely the first step is noticing, reflecting on what the influences in your life. And yeah, and I love they have that quiz option. Utilize tools like that if you're needing the extra help. I'm not really sure what's going on. And then
Right.
once you have some kind of archetype you can then connect it to.
Yes. Yeah, it's the first step. That alone was just a game changer for me. You're an avoider.
Yeah.
That resonates. It really resonated way deeper. So where are you showing up like that in other areas of your life?
Yeah.
It has helped me really transform and come forward, right? Really has. And I'm just so thankful because I don't live like that anymore.
Mhm.
And even now, I look at my future self, I can see her and she's thriving,
Yeah.
and this won't hold her back.
Mm.
Sure, you're always going to, every level you take, you're going to meet up with yet another challenge, but you can do this.
Yeah. It makes me think you also said something earlier, like once you realized it, then you had to embrace it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know for me personally, if I notice some things about myself that then I instantly judge and I'm like, that's terrible that I'm avoiding money and then beat myself up about it. How can we like start embracing, no, this is who I am and okay. I'm okay. Now I'm just going to start doing things a little differently.
Yeah. It's a good question. And quite frankly, what I'm about to say, I hate this terminology, but I can't think of anything right now. You've got to love yourself. You've got to be your own advocate. All you're talking about in this moment is, hey, what's going on externally in my life? I'm not happy with. I'm going to have to look at all of why this is happening. Some of this is the economy. I get that. But some of this is me. And be okay because, and I tell people this, and this helps them. First of all, you weren't born this way, right? This was put on you. So give yourself a pass. And you're doing the best you can with the wisdom you have at the time. So how can you be blamed for something like that? And you didn't come with this burden. It was put on you later. You came here whole, perfect, and complete, a beautiful baby with none of this stuff. And then as you grow, your people who didn't have the best experience around something pass that experience on to you. What are you supposed to do? You're a baby. And that happens to all of us. And to be fair, like my mother, it was put on her. And her mother, it was put on her. So none of us are to blame. Let's just know that this is where we are now. And guess what? With me, I'd like to shift from here. There is no blame. There's no judgment on my mother, who was an immigrant in Jamaica she had her own experiences and she did the best she could with the wisdom she had. And then she raised me. And yes, she had all kinds of stuff around money and she's taken the quiz.
Yeah.
And she's a hoarder. And she laughed because she was the one that would take her money and hide it under the carpet.
Yeah.
Okay. She was everywhere. And then one day, place flooded. And then she's having to search where under the carpet is her money that's now wet.
Right.
That's the hoarder.
Yeah.
And that's who raised me. With her, though, she's a hoarder. So she's clenching tight to everything she's got. My dad, not so much. He's a spender. So if he found her money, he would take it. And that would make her furious.
Yeah.
And then she would lash out and created an avoider in me. I'm not a hoarder. I'm an avoider.
Yeah.
She took the quiz. She's a perfect hoarder. But I know her story. And that's what it is. It's a story. And we can choose to turn and just write another story. We have the power of choice. We're the only animals on the planet that have it. We can write another story, and I chose to do so. And I can say I've been successful, and others that I have trained and coached been successful. But it comes with a price. And the price is you have to look at yourself without judgment. Love yourself enough to say, yes, I'm an avoider. Yes, I've paid a lot of late payments and God knows how many, whatever. But guess what? I did the best I could with the wisdom I had at the time. Didn't know I was an avoider. And once I learned that, I was like, okay, let's do something different, Charm. Let's try this. The other isn't working. The working 10, 12, 14, 20 hours a day, flying to California, doing it. It's not working. Something else has to give here. I got to do something different. This worked. I got to the root of the issue and I plucked that up because it was not a good root. And I grew flowers instead. Right? I took the weeds out and I grew flowers.
Thank you for sharing that. I love the example that you shared of your family and how it's not necessarily a one-to-one conversion, right? If your mom was a hoarder, it doesn't mean you are, right? And so I think that was a great example to help people understand what they're paying attention to when they reflect. And the other piece is not only the price of change is, yes, reflecting on yourself. That's one of them. I'm sure there's many. But the other one that I was thinking of is like giving up the life that you're used to, pursue something different. And you have to believe that different is better in order to keep going and move and shift in that direction. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting pulled back into the old.
Absolutely. And some people will choose to stay stuck because change is hard. this habit is hard. And I don't say that some days I don't want to avoid, because she is an avoider. It came from somewhere. It's hardwired into her. So we have to have a conversation. Oh, you're avoiding charm. I'll give her 24 hours. I may even give her 48 hours, but at least I know we make peace with it. Okay, I got to avoid it right now. I have to avoid it, but I promise you, I'm coming back to it. Okay. So I'll even do that. But just knowing, unfortunately, there will be people that, and I don't say unfortunately, it's the best thing for them. They can't handle the shift. It's too hard. It's too painful. And so they will stay where they are. And all I say in that moment is give yourself a then and make peace with that. There is no judgment. There's just no judgment. Just because I chose to shift, because I couldn't, I literally just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? I couldn't.
Yeah, it's in order to decide that you want to make a change, the pain has to be greater than the convenience of it or the familiarity of it.
Yeah.
And so, if like for you, enough was enough,
Yeah.
you had gotten to that point,
Yeah.
but maybe for some, yeah, I don't love it, but
It works
it's
out.
working,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and I'm fine with it. And it comes down to value.
There's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't take the pain of paycheck to paycheck. And with me, I was a travel nurse. So when you don't work, you don't get paid. Okay. And that's okay. That's the way it goes. But you work so hard, like 12 hours, backbreaking work, that some days you would get up the next day to go to work. You would literally be emotionally and physically drained from the sickness and disease and death that you experienced the day before, because that is your workplace.
Yeah.
Right. That is the workplace that I live in. I don't go to an office where an engineer does, and I have nothing against engineers. I'm just saying that the job I chose, it is taking care of sickness, disease, and death. And without understanding, you've got to have a level of self-care in that role that is second to none. And we're not prepared for that. We need a self-care game plan like nobody else. Nurses, doctors, any of us that work in that environment, we need a strong self-care plan, and we don't have one. You can't work in an environment like that day in and day out and not realize that you take a spiritual hit. But you do. And nobody teaches us that. And we have these rose-colored glasses. We're going to care for these people, and we do. And it chips away at your physicality. It chips away at your soul. I have lost so many beautiful patients over the years, and I would cry at the bedside. I would hug their families. I would keep up with them. I would give them a piece of my soul before they left. Take this with you. Know that I knew your loved one in their last second, and I loved them in their last second. Maybe you weren't here. It was too late, right? And I was the one that was there. Know that I loved them before they.
Yeah. It's a lot to take on
It
from
is.
one person. And
It is.
yeah.
But we do it as clinicians. We do it every day. And all I'm saying is that we need to be prepared to care for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we drained, burned out from it.
Absolutely.
You
I
know?
think I can relate because my profession was teaching, right? You go in and you have all these like great ideas of what it's going to be like and how you're going to serve and love the students. And yet it is so draining and easy to get burnt out. And I think, especially as women, we're natural caregivers.
Right.
And so the selflessness comes more naturally to us.
Yes.
And it gets to a point where it's just too much. We're giving too much.
Yes.
And we do have to take a step back and recenter and decide, okay, what is it that I need in order to continue to give in the best way possible? And if I'm drained and I'm becoming really sad or depressed or frustrated, like you're not going to show up as your best self to
No.
serve those people, right? And so you have to decide what it is that's going to help you. Whether it's, for me, it was leaving teaching. That was what was best for me. Maybe it's just as a nurse, you could probably step back and do less hours, especially now that you were doing your coaching
Yes.
business as well. And then just having more of that balance.
Yes.
But we all have to decide, how do we take care of ourselves? What's the best approach? Because we want to show up as our best selves.
That's right. Your best self. So that was really a blessing for me. I was able to stay in nursing and become a nurse educator and go out and educate. And that has been a blessing for me. And I've loved it so much. And I'm just still doing that in operations and things like that. Still see patients from time to time, still train and whatever, but not the level that I was when I was working on the floor. That's a special job. And I need my brothers and sisters out there that are still at the bedside to operate in self-care, get a game plan like no other, to remain whole, one, and to be best self, like you're saying.
Can you talk a little bit about your support system that you had while you were making all these changes, whether it was in your career or with your finances? Like, how did that help you through?
Oh, it's huge. So I got my parents that live with me, and they're my biggest cheerleaders, right? So I don't care what it is, those people, you can do it since I was a little girl. I think every person needs at least one person that you are the most perfect person in the world to them. You can do no wrong, right? You need that. I don't care if you tell them, I'm going to be an ex murderer tomorrow. They're going to go, oh, I think you're going to be the best one ever. So I have that. I have that even right now. They're both 87. They're still alive. And so that was a support system that I can tell you right now, could not live without. Then I've got a daughter, Karina Michelle, my mini me, my not mini me. She became a coach. She took the class. Um, she's so good at it. She took the class in 2010, I think it was. She holds me accountable at every turn.
Mm,
You need somebody that's going to hold you accountable and not tell you what you want to hear.
mm,
It's huge. You can't have all these yes people in your camp. It will lead you astray. You'll be the emperor with no clothes on in no time. In no time.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person with no clothes on. You don't. So I would say that's the hugest part of my support system. I've got several friends that I call on for the sole purpose of not telling me what I want.
Yeah.
I don't need that. I need the other. You need a coach, mentor. I've got it in business and I've got it in coaching. In business, my mentor is a brilliant man and I've known him 12 years. And he has mentored me in so many ways in business. And it's just a phenomenal thing to have. He's very kind to me, but he finds a way of telling me what I don't want to hear with grace where I can receive it. I can't ask for anything better than that because he could
Yeah.
just give it to me bluntly, but he does. He's an amazing man, mentor, boss, friend, and I'm just fortunate. He fell into my lap years ago and he's still my mentor today. And like I said, lastly, I have a powerful coach and mentor that I work with to to hold me accountable to this gift that I have. I can say that I could possibly just do one thing and just not. And when I feel like, you know what, let's just put this in and go to Tahiti and where nobody knows your name, right? Live under a tree on the beach, do nothing.
Mm.
You got that person saying, no, you've got this gift that nobody else can do. There's a million people doing it, but nobody is vibrating at the frequency that you do. What happens is there are people vibrating at the same frequency as you, Brittany, and they will only hear you and you will resonate with them. And that is your tribe. But we got a million podcasts out there, right?
Yeah.
But your frequency is designed for somebody else whose frequency is right there, like yours. So you have to show up. They need you. They need your message. I always say that we are all a link in somebody else's chain. And so I don't show up with my link in your chain. You're going to have a gap. You're going to have a gap. I'm not there. Where are you going to go? But if I'm there, then the next link can come on.
Mm.
Next person, and next person that has the other link in your chain of good.
Mhm.
So we have a responsibility to show up.
I love
And
that.
that's why I do it, because I feel a strong sense of responsibility and accountability to show up for my tribe, whoever they are. Some I know, some I've yet to know, but I know I'm their link. And that's all. They'll move on to be amazing people and do their own thing. I have to show up for that 5 minutes or that 5 hours, whatever it is in their life. If they're seeking, then we need to be there showing up for them. And that's what I believe in. That's why we're here, you and I.
I love that. That's beautiful. It makes me think of like the journey that I've been on as far as personal development goes, and just to reflect on what got me here to be doing my own podcast about this, and to think of the teachers and the mentors that I've come across along the way that have helped guide me and get me to this point.
No.
Yeah, it's beautiful to think about because some of those people I don't follow anymore. I don't listen to their podcasts, whatever it is that they helped me with at the time, but yet they are a part of my story, a part of my link,
Yes.
my chain.
Yeah. Yes. They're a part of your chain. And they always will be. But like you said, you may never see them again or whatever. Louise Hay, not that I can't read her books and stuff like that, but I could hear her voice back in the day. Wayne, the same thing. But man, they are powerful links for me. Powerful. And so are my mentors. Powerful links for me. I'm grateful for them. Very grateful. I have so many mentors and friends that I'm barely me. They're all part of Charm's story. I, I, I don't, yeah, they're all part of why I am who I am.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've
And
had
I,
to say, Charm, that's your name. You are Charm. You are charming. Embody that. I had to have somebody tell me that. You're shrinking back. That is actually my name. And I'm shrinking back
yeah,
from it.
it makes me think of this concept of maybe your people are out there in careers and they're not using their gifts. And there's this pull that they want to use their gifts, but like you mentioned, you're shrinking or you're not paying attention or you're feeling overshadowed by what you are doing for a career. And you have the self doubt, right? And I think this is a good reminder to show up in your gifts, right? Show up and use your gifts because you're needed in that space, and you will meet those people that you're meant to influence and inspire. And if you're not using that gift, then you're missing out on those opportunities and in serving others around you.
Right. And so are they. They're missing out on you.
Yeah.
I've had that so many times. As soon as I don't care if I'm in the back of a cab, if I feel the pull and that person reaches out and starts talking to me, I will instantly feel that pull. And I'm like, oh, there is something that I'm supposed to impart, or they're supposed to impart in me before I leave this ride, I'll know. And I'm intentional at that point to make sure that happens because what's the chance I'm never gonna see them again?
Yeah.
But in that moment, I'm their link for something very, it might seem small, like, but I had a cab driver spend days looking on social media to find me,
Wow.
to tell me they finally found me and just messaged me. I don't even remember what on platform and say, "You literally shifted me, and I just really wanted to thank you." And that was it. But he said, "I've spent days. I knew what your name was because I was a Lyft or Uber." Says, "I knew what
Yeah.
your name was, but that's all I had." He said, "But I needed to message you and let you know what you said to me was so powerful that it shifted me and I'm doing things differently." That's great.
Yeah. And what a gift that you were able to, that he was able to tell you that, because most of the time we're not going to know.
Nope, we're not going to know. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can feel it, but I don't need to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Can you tell me a little bit about the coaching that you offer and maybe even share with our listeners some resources that you often recommend for people wanting to build that abundance in their life?
Yeah, the Abundance Quest is a course, but I have an app. So you can just go on iOS or Android and put the Abundance Quest and download the app. And it has a lot of cool free resources. It's got the podcasts, it's got the quiz, it's got an ebook. It helps you become more clear about, especially if you feel like you have a money wound and you do have a money archetype. It will tell you what it is. It will tell you what it means to you, how you show up in the world. But then the podcast, like this one will go on there, right? When we have it, I'll put it on the app and they can listen to it and they can get a deeper understanding. They'll listen to you and me. And I've got, I don't know how many podcasts now, but they'll be able to get a really deeper sense. This is a great podcast for people to listen to. They're going to understand a lot of things. They're going to understand the hoarder. We've given a great analogy of what that looks like and the experiences. So that's what I would suggest. And they'll be able to connect with me right there by downloading the app. And then they can always ping me, reach out if they need anything else. They can always find me on Instagram. But there's a lot of resources for them that I've put in place to
Mm.
help people finally start to just, because the beginning of it is awareness. So you can do that. And then if you want to work together, you can easily just reach out and I'll be able to reach back. But in the meantime, there's lots of resources for you in regardless. Yeah.
It's really cool that you have an app with all of that stuff on it. That's really amazing.
Wanted to give the
Awesome.
collective what they needed. All right. This isn't for me. I was very clear about that. My journey is my journey. I got to this other side. And then I still felt like I needed to go back and get my fellow men and women. And I'm thankful that I was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning for years, just kept writing until we got it to where we are, because it
Yeah.
was very clear to me that I'm not the only one on the planet that
Mhm.
needs help understanding information. And the fact that I was not to blame for my avoidant habit. It was an avoidant habit. I was not to blame for that. It was passed down to me. What I do with that information now, that's on me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that reminder. Now that I'm aware, now it's my responsibility to, what am I going to do with it? And we get to decide. Like you said, we have the choice.
Yeah. No judgment.
Charm, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you and hearing your story. And I love the what you offer to the world with this abundance mindset and working on who you are financially, because however you show up in that way, like you mentioned earlier, is probably appearing in a lot of other places in your life. And so I think this is really important work. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Brittany, for this platform. Bless you as you continue to help our women out there. This is a wonderful platform, and I was honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and a huge thank you to our guest for sharing such valuable insights. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps others discover the podcast, and it means the world to me as I continue to bring you content that supports your career change journey. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're feeling stuck in a career that doesn't fulfill you anymore, I'm here to help. My one-on-one career coaching program is designed specifically for women who are ready to break free from the grind and discover a career that truly excites them. In our sessions, we'll uncover what's holding you back, identify your true passions, and create a clear, actionable plan to transition you into a career that aligns with your deepest values. You can get in touch with me directly at shiftyourdayjob@gmail.com, or you can connect with me on social media at shiftyourdayjob. I'd love to hear from you and support you on this journey. Until next time, I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and together, let's shift your day job.